What if I told you there's a Swiss audio company making reference level components that should cost $20,000, but they're selling them for under 10 grand?
And what if I told you that the catch is, there is no catch? Meet Wattson Audio.
In the vast sea of hi-fi brands, Wattson Audio has been making waves with its Swiss precision and refusal to compromise on technical excellence.
You might be wondering, what sets Wattson Audio apart from everyone else? For starters, it's their promise of pure power, pure sound, and reference level components that don't cost a fortune. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. We're diving into all things Wattson, from their product line to their technology and design approach.
And if you're as obsessed with finding incredible audio gear as we are, hit that subscribe button right now. We're constantly uncovering hidden gems like Wattson Audio. They say one of the best ways to learn is to learn from others, and that's exactly what Wattson Audio did. They actually started as design consultants for some of the most prestigious brands in hi-fi audio, learning the industry's best kept secrets from the inside. And once they were armed with that experience and passion for advancing digital streaming technology, Wattson Audio was born. Their mission: to challenge the conventions of audio design and to deliver the future of high-performance sound.
Wattson Audio is a true Swiss manufacturer, with every detail from the design to the assembly taking place in Switzerland. In 2024, the company was acquired by CH Precision, a like-minded Swiss engineering firm that has had a history with Wattson dating back to the early 2000s. If you know CH Precision, you know we're talking about Swiss engineering at its absolute finest. This partnership has taken Wattson's already impressive technology and amplified it tenfold.
Let's start with their flagship component, the Madison streamer. At just under 5 grand, this unit is packed with technology that rivals components costing 4 times as much.
Don't get fooled, first of all, by the size. I think what they've done is gone with a minimalist approach of trying to keep as many extra bells and whistles out of the picture as possible to make things as pure as possible. They've kept the power supply outside the box, and this way giving them the ability to offer some upgrades. You'll see soon that we'll be offering an external power supply, which is going to be the same shape and size as the streamer. It comes with a basic power supply to get you rocking and rolling from the get-go, but there is an upgrade package down the road that you can go with. And from a simplistic standpoint, this is a true streamer at the end of the day. Yes, it's got a couple of digital inputs, but the bottom line is this was designed first and foremost to be a network streamer. And it does have the great ability to adjust the volume. So with that being said, you can then connect directly to an amplifier. They're coming out with their own speaker amplifier, so that you don't have to have a lot of components. Keeping signal paths as short as possible, simple as possible, prevents the exterior interference and disruption from other products from entering into your stream. This is a simple package. If all you do is stream, or all you do is pull audio from your server on the network, NAS or RuneCore or something else, then this is the simplistic approach and a really nice compact setup, especially for an apartment,
Yes.
especially in like New York City or San Francisco, stuff like that, where space is to a minimum. So they've kept out all this extra nonsense and just focused on what was really important: incredible digital to analog conversion and a digital network streamer that's controlled with a volume control that can be controlled via app, via Rune, via Wattson's own app. They do add a headphone connection.
Yep.
While this wasn't first and foremost designed as a headphone amp, there was enough power in the preamp section to drive headphones. I would keep this to low impedance headphones or IEMs, something like a Susvara just isn't going to get done justice by this piece. But if you want to be able to do headphone listening as well, then you've got that bells and whistle. At this size, it makes for a perfect desktop system as well, for you guys that want a reference streamer desktop DAC at your desk. There is no USB input on this device, so you would have to do it via network. So you got to make sure that somehow you can get a network connection to it. If you only have Wi-Fi available in this location, there are Wi-Fi access points that we can help you pick up and utilize that aspect. I always recommend a wired connection first and foremost. Wireless can be a little flaky, and you don't want to deal with that. I certainly can't stand dropouts. I always do wired in my network streaming systems.
Yeah, and I think like with the true beauty of this product, it is simplicity. Sometimes the simplest solution is the best solution, and that is definitely the case right here for the Madison streamer. And going off what you said about the Wi-Fi, with that type of approach, the Ethernet wired connection just makes a lot more sense. You got your 1/4-inch headphone jack right right there on the front, the volume control that Drew was referring to earlier. And you're probably asking yourself, where is the screen? Well, that's the beauty of this baby. It is as simple gets. Wattson said, you know what? We don't need a screen. We want a low profile, easy to use solution. And we always have our phones. We don't even go to the bathroom without the phone in our hand. So you control the entire thing from selecting your song to even adjusting the volume from the couch, all on the app.
Yeah, their app is very easy to use. It's very simple. It immediately finds the product on the network. It can search for all your different Wattson devices. It's very lightning quick to do so. I've never actually seen something come up so quickly on the network as it has with their own app. The app will do all kinds of things like Qobuz Connect, Tidal Connect. It'll connect to a NAS on your network. It'll connect to a server on your network. It does UPnP. It does Rune Endpoint. You know, these guys, first and foremost, when they came out, when they were doing OEM solutions for other people, you know, they focused on that network card. And you will find this network card, and I'm not going to mention some of the top dog names out there, but you know, CH Precision is using this network card. They purchased Wattson down the road because they were so satisfied with what they did. And then CH Precision then put their twist on this implementation of the Madison. There was an original Madison that came out. This was before CH Precision bought them. And then when CH Precision bought them, it was called the Lounge Edition. Then from the Lounge Edition, now that the other old original Wattson Madison has been sold out, they're now going to go back and just call it the Madison. I know a little bit of confusion with the naming process, but we're going to go back and just call this the Madison going forward at some point soon. I guess once they sell out of stock of the units that say LE on it, if you will. It will change from this color, as I understand it, to the color of the Emerson analog that you see right here. What else? It'll do PCM and DSD, so you don't have to worry about any kind of formats. They're constantly doing updates to add, you know, as we just see recently with a lot of products, they've added Qobuz Connect. I imagine there are going to be other connects added. They are first to market in terms of adding all of these additional licensing agreements with different streaming services. So watch for the page for updates in terms of what new services are being added. They're doing more than anybody else, except for maybe Blue OS with Lenbrook. You know, their network streaming card, again, used in some of the top models on the marketplace. This is by far the best networking card I have heard to date. It's a fantastic product. I love it. And we're looking at the back view here. So you've got a couple of options, connections. You've got a single-ended and balanced analog outputs to go to your system. You've got a network connection, like I said, no USB connection. So you've got to do network for doing network streaming. You've got a coax digital input as well as a Toslink. So if you've got a CD player or some other digital source that you want to add to it, you're covered there. Again, they're trying to keep this simplistic. They don't want a million different options in terms of connections and whatnot, because at the end of the day, it's all about the sound quality here, not about a million different features.
Yes, exactly. You hit the nail on the head. This has great synergy with the Madison amplifier, but you can pair it with any amplifier. It integrates really seamlessly into your setup. And we just can't stress enough that the value in this is just the simplicity of it. It's just small, it's compact, low profile, everything you need's in the app. It really doesn't get much easier than this to listen to high resolution music.
So the next products I'd like to talk about are the Emerson products. And essentially what I call these are sort of problem-solving components. There are two versions. There's an analog and a digital. We've got the analog here, and on the one side, you'll see the network in. On the back side, analog RCA outputs. The only other connection on this you'll find is just the power connection. Again, this will come with a basic power supply, but the power supply upgrade that you can get with the Madison is also applicable to both Emerson products. The other product is the digital. On the backside, instead of having two RCAs for analog output, you're gonna have one RCA for coax SPDIF output and one output for AES EBU balanced digital output. So essentially, these give you the ability, first the digital, let's say you've got a DAC that doesn't have a network connection. These guys have the best network streaming option interface, right? So you can add this and truly upgrade your existing DAC that doesn't have maybe a network connection. I've got several DACs at home that are many years old, before the network audio revolution, if you will, things that were reference pieces for me and I just can't let go of, and I've done lots of modifications on. So this gives me a way to add in a digital output to use those DACs. So it's a problem solver. It'll now make that DAC essentially a Rune endpoint, or you can use, again, the Wattson audio app. Then let's say you just need a simple network DAC. Well, you go with the analog version here, network in, RCA out into your preamp, whammo. You don't have to have all these external boxes. This has a premium DAC in it, same sort of topology that's in the Madison, just scaled down to just do single-ended outputs and to keep the box nice and small. This can be tucked away behind your equipment rack, out of sight, out of mind.
So with an internal DAC, and it also has a volume control, and for it to be this size, how are you using this?
Yeah, so essentially, just like I stated earlier with the Madison, if you wanted to connect this directly to a speaker amp and get rid of all of their bells and whistles, components, etc., and keep things simple, you can control this not only by the volume control on this device, but in the Madison app, there is a volume control. This volume control is also transferred to these products. This is one of the few products that I know of that does a network or USB in to an analog output that you can control the volume with. So right there in the Wattson Audio app, you can control the volume. You can also do it from Roon. So this means one less component. So really, you could have this, a small amplifier, and that's it. Again, now you're not just living in an apartment, you're living in a shoebox at this point, because I mean, this is really small and just reference quality sound. Really cool.
Yeah, and that is really what's so crazy about this component is you kind of look at it and you just wouldn't think that it was built with all that technology inside, and then just knowing that all you have to do is just connect it to the amplifier and you're good to go. I mean, exactly like you said, you could be quite literally living in a shoebox and just have this, an amplifier, your headphones, and you're good to go.
Yeah, it can be for a headphone system or a speaker system. Either way, phenomenal. I've been using this a lot with our Dragon Inspire headphone amp as the DAC and network connection. So that's a really, we're talking about a compact size like this of a headphone system, premium quality sound. Surface mounted devices are getting smaller and smaller. You're seeing all kinds of chips getting smaller and smaller. So don't let size fool you. The quality here, and I realize the pricing for the size seems a bit high.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what, the technology, the performance is here to promote that price point.
Yeah, I will say at $17.50 to get something of this size, it might throw you back a little, but you gotta understand what you're paying for is technology. Wattson didn't go out of their way to give you the fancy chassis with all the bells and whistles on it. You're paying for what's inside.
Yeah. And these are these are aluminum blocks that are essentially machined out, CNC machined out, so the chassis are really good quality, really nice finishes. Hard to see what the finishes is on the camera right now, but you can tell when you look at it, the machining is Swiss.
So just to round it out, we're using the Emerson analog for
connecting in a situation where you don't have a network connection and you don't have a DAC. You want to keep things simple. You want to stream, keep the system as small as possible. This is the cream of the crop in terms of size and performance.
Yep.
The digital, the situation where you've got this DAC that doesn't have a network connection and you love it and you don't want to upgrade to another DAC, and I've got plenty of pieces of gear that I have a hard time getting rid of because I've just fallen in love with the sound quality. This will add then a network connection to your existing DAC.
Both are priced at $17.50. We've got one final Wattson Audio product that we're really excited about, but it's not physically here with us today. Could you tell us about it, Drew?
So next up in the lineup is the Madison Amplifier, priced at $64.95. This is an ultralinear amplification circuit. It's a dual mono, low feedback, Class AB design offering 50 watts per channel. Now the cool thing about this is you can use this in a couple of different methodologies. They first talk about a bi-amp mode. This is where you're routing input signals to both output channels for vertical amplification, enhancing dynamics, resolution, and control. Or you can do what they're calling monophonic, which is what I call from the olden days a bridging of the amplifier, which converts the amp into a single channel, improving current delivery and handling of complex modes. So you can use this, we'll just say 3 different ways. You can have a single amplifier to run stereo channels, 1 to each speaker. You can have 2 amplifiers with 1 pair of speakers and use them in what I call bi-amp by wire. So essentially we're gonna connect the high frequencies of each speaker to 1 amplifier, the low frequencies speaker taps to the other amplifier. So one's controlling the bass frequencies, one's controlling the high frequencies. Then a third way is we can actually take the 2 amplifiers, bridge them to mono, and essentially, and I don't know if it exactly doubles in power, but essentially we're gonna get twice as much power output for the speakers. You use 1 amplifier for the right speaker, 1 amplifier for the left speaker. So lots of fun things to do here in terms of playing around with tonality if you're gonna buy 2 amplifiers just to improve performance. And essentially actually, this is a great way to segue into the cables that I recommend for this. So I would go with our new Bronze Dragon speaker cable, which we can do both by wire and by amp internally in one cable. Then the Bronze Dragon interconnects, I'm using those with the Emerson into the Dragon Inspire. I really like the combination of the UPOCC copper with all of this digital gear. Not being, the amplifier is not digital, but we're talking about the Emerson and the Madison streamers. And then we're also using the Bronze Dragon network cable. I like to use all the same cables in one system because I want to keep the coloration the same. You can always change, mix and match cables to change little tweaks here and there, but I'm going with Bronze Dragon cables on all of this equipment. I found that worked to be the best sonic collaboration, if you will. So the last thing to talk about is how do we connect the devices to the amplifier. So the amplifier has both single-ended and balanced connections. So for connecting with the Wattson Madison, you're gonna do, obviously, first choice would be balanced, single-ended as your second choice. There's obviously 2 sets of binding posts for your speakers. There's a DC connection for an external power supply. It's a very robust, beefy power supply. I'm not really sure yet if they're gonna do an aftermarket power supply for the amplifier. We shall see. If you're connecting the Emerson, then it's gonna be only for the analog version, obviously, because there's no DAC in the amplifier. So we're gonna use the Emerson analog with RCA outputs into the Madison amplifier.
It really is an entirely configurable line. You could pair the Madison streamer with the Madison amp. You can pair the Emerson analog with the Madison amp. You can have this just on its own. I mean, the possibilities are really endless.
Building blocks like Lego.
Yes, yes, you took the words right out of my mouth. It's a Lego. While there are 100 reasons to choose a Wattson audio product, it's the craftsmanship, technology, and overall user experience that sets them apart from others.
And let's not forget the sound signature. It's a very detailed, resolute, very neutral, natural sound. Not forward, not laid back, very clean, resolute, detailed, and airy. Every streamer uses their proprietary ARM-based Ethernet interface with a highly time domain correct spline filtering technology you'll only find in Wattson and CH Precision products. They've mastered asynchronous transmission, letting their precision clocks handle timing instead of relying on your computer's inconsistent timing. And let's talk about power, because pristine power is everything. Wattson employs external power supplies and dedicates individual filtering and voltage regulation to each critical circuit. Plus, their LEEDH processing volume control virtually eliminates quantumization errors while preserving signal purity. Anything to minimize potential interference.
We've got a dedicated Wattson audio product guide that goes over all of their proprietary technologies in depth, so please check that out. That's linked in the description below so you can learn more information about their technology. When it comes to the company's approach to product design, it's practical and efficient. They focus on space, energy, and materials while also maintaining that promise of giving you an authentic high-end sound, but at that attainable price point. Swiss precision, as they call it, is truly the essence of Wattson audio. Each chassis starts as a solid aluminum billet, and it's machined for a perfect fit and superior interference shielding. The fewer pieces that you have to jigsaw together, the better technical precision that you're gonna get. And lastly on the list of Wattson audio strengths is the Wattson Music app. This is the only application that you're going to need to control your new Wattson product. This app is essentially the brain of the entire operation. It allows you full control of the Madison and Emerson product lines. You'll be able to access your music library, stream from those various streaming services we talked about earlier, and control the unit without ever leaving the comfort of your couch. That means in the settings menu, you can adjust the volume, rename devices and inputs, do input switching, and fine-tune correction settings.
Look, as audiophiles, we're used to the idea that reference level performance comes with reference level prices. Wattson Audio proves that assumption wrong. Wattson Audio is now available at Moon Audio. Links are in the description, and our team is on standby to help you configure the perfect system. As always, give this video some love with a like, comment, and subscribe.
Don't forget to check out the Wattson Audio product guide for much more information on Wattson Audio. And as always, thanks for watching.
See you next time.